Hey there, funnel builders. In this video, I'm going to teach you my 6-step method to finding out the budget for all of your funnel customers every time.
They've done studies, 60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
So we have to remember that budget is a qualifier. The idea of asking the budget question is to frankly qualify out the people who have got crazy expectations based on what you can deliver for what they can invest in their own business. It also is going to prevent you from having to deal with tire kicker and time wasting customers who have got like a $500 or $1,000 budget, as well as that awkward moment when you give a proposal to a customer and they tell you that it's too expensive or that they didn't realize that that was going to be the price. Even customers who beg you for a discount need to realize that you can't pay your bills with their good intentions and with their discount. You need to have a minimum threshold for being able to work with. Even if you don't have a minimum threshold in mind for yourself, you have to know what they're willing to invest in their own business and what they're willing to invest in the project in order for you to deliver realistic expectations. If you want to start increasing your prices, you also have to know what the minimum working amount is that you would require to work on a project. It's no good saying, oh, I wish I just had bigger budgets and better customers, because that's only going to happen when you start telling the world what your minimum threshold is. That's why we ask the budget question. There's also a big misconception that asking the budget is rude or that customers will get offended. Now remember the first point I made in the video, that this is a crazy filter. The budget question is designed to qualify out people who aren't willing to invest in their own business. Therefore, if someone is offended, that is going to tell you that they're going to be very difficult to work with for the entire project. Therefore, in my opinion, you should just cut them and dump them, frankly. Most customers, however, aren't going to be offended when you talk about the budget and when you ask them about their budget. In fact, most serious businesses who really do want to invest in their own product and in their own business are going to have a really simple answer ready and waiting for you when it comes to the answer for the budget. So remember that you have to start asking the budget question if you're serious about your business, because you need to know if customers are serious about their business. So number one, ask for the budget or ask the budget question as soon as possible. You need to ask the budget question as early as possible. Now, this is going to seem a little bit awkward at first, kind of immediately asking that budget question, but it needs to be done at either the initial contact phase, so when they kind of reach out to you via email, or if you have some kind of quick 20-minute qualification call just to understand a little bit more about their business and the project. The sooner you ask the budget question, the less awkward it's going to be in the long run and in the future. You don't want to have that awkward conversation later on during the proposal stage. I'd rather feel a little bit uncomfortable now than way more uncomfortable and having expended loads of energy on doing the project in the first place and kind of sending them a proposal. So number one is make sure you ask the budget question as early as possible. In order to ask the budget question, number two is simply ask them. Simply say, what kind of budget have you allocated for this project? Now, customers that are serious about their project and investing in their own business will probably have an answer in mind. They might give you a range, which is absolutely fine, but what you're looking for is a numerical figure. So you need to ask them, what's your budget? What kind of budget did you have in mind? What kind of budget have you allocated to this project? Number three, stay silent. This is a part of my process. I have to write it down myself and I have to make sure that I remember it. You are looking for a numerical figure. You have to stay silent until they give you that numerical figure. You don't want vague answers like, oh, well, we were hoping you could tell us that, or we're not really sure, or we've got a number in mind. You're not interested in that. You need to know what the budget is. If someone said to you, what's your name? And you said, well, I have got a name, but I'm not really sure. What would the person asking say? They would go, So you need to be able to wait until someone's going to give you an answer. Now, this is going to seem super awkward at first. 2 seconds of silence during a conversation can feel like 10 minutes. Yeah, see, to me, that was awkward, but it was to prove a point. The reality is it's actually not that bad. When you ask the question, what kind of budget did you have in mind, you stay silent until they give you a financial, fiscal, number-based figure. No talking around it, no bullshit. The next person to talk after that question will have basically control over the budget. Number 4, if they're still vague and if they still really want to talk around it and it ends up getting to a bit of a stalemate, which can happen, you need to ask them more about their goals. You need to ask them about their financial goals. So similar to the question about budget where we say, okay, well, what kind of budget did you have in mind? You want a fiscal number. When we ask them more about their goals, you also need a fiscal number. You need to talk about numbers somewhere. You are running a business. They're supposed to be running a business. You're a funnel builder. You're trying to increase certain key metrics. So you need to get some kind of fiscal number. Now, they might turn back to you and say, yeah, well, we've actually got an idea to generate $250,000 in sales this year through this product. Last year we did $200,000 in sales, so we're looking for $50,000 increase. Or last year we did $100,000, so we're looking to do $250,000 this year. So we're looking to more than double it. You need to understand what the financial goal is that they've got in mind for their particular project. This will give you a better idea of the kind of budget that they should be aiming for. For example, if a customer says to you, well, we made 0 sales this year and we're looking to get to $100,000 this year, that's probably going to cost them around $100,000 to go from 0 to 100,000. But from someone to go from 900,000 to a minimum, which is, 900,000 to a million, that's a $100,000 increase, which is a little over an 11% increase, which is way more doable. You can do that and that won't cost you as much. It's basically this economies of scale. You know that a $250,000 product launch is probably going to require a minimum of $50,000 to get them to the point where they need to be. If they already have a customer list, you have to know as much as you can about their business. So ask them about their goals. The more you know about their goals, the better an idea you'll have about their budget. After you've asked that question, you can come back with reframing the budget question with point 5 by saying, what would you be willing to pay for those results? So if someone came up to you and said, look, we're looking to launch a product. We've had $100,000 in sales last year. We're looking to do $200,000 in sales this year. And they're really vague about the budget for some reason. Now, a business that's got firm beliefs in the ideas of what it is they want to go, chances are they're going to have a very good idea of their budget. You might need to talk them through this, but if they don't, and you go, okay, so you want to go from 100,000 to 200,000, what would you be willing to pay for those results? That's going to give you a really interesting indicator on how serious they are. If they say, I don't know, I haven't really thought about it, stay silent. You need to stay silent. You're looking for an answer from them. Remember, they need approval from you. You don't need approval from them. You're the expert. You're coming to them to help their business. They need to come back to you and say, I guess I'd be willing to pay $10,000. $10,000 for $100,000? That's pushing it, in my opinion. Now, depending on like the kind of sales process they had, if we did a bit more digging, it might be that that was entirely possible within their business and within their framework. But what that's going to do is tell you the kind of realistic or non-realistic expectations they have for you, for their business, for the product, and for the project. And finally, point number 6, give them some guideline. A lot of customers will come back with a budget in the range and they'll say, yeah, we were thinking in the range of anywhere between $15,000 to $25,000. Now, in my opinion, someone who's got $10,000 has always got an extra 20%. I could probably get them up to $12,000 or even $13,000 to $15,000. Someone who's got $20,000, I can probably push them to $25,000. Someone who's got $500, I'm never going to be able to get them to go to $10,000. Now, if I give them guidelines and I say, okay, you're looking for $250,000 in sales and you're starting from 0. If I could get you $250,000 in sales with a $500 or a $1,000 budget, why do you think we're having this conversation? Surely I'd be on some desert island somewhere. Most people are quite reasonable. There's only been a few times, and I've been doing this a long time, where people have really got uppity. I remember one woman in particular, I even wrote a blog post about it, how she had goals of $250,000 and she said she had a budget of $500. And I said, that's not going to happen. She came back with loads of excuses like, well, my nephew says he can do it for this and my son says he can do it for this much. And I was like, okay, but none of them are going to make you $250,000. If I could make $250,000 from a $500 investment, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. Ask them what kind of sensible yields and returns they think property or banks or investment portfolios or investing into other businesses get them. would get them. Most people would be lucky to get an 8% return on anything they invest long term over a number of years. They have to have realistic expectations. In my opinion, a really simple rule of thumb engagement would be a 2-to-1 ratio. If they want $2, they need to spend $1. And that's at a minimum, okay? Sometimes it can be higher than that. Now, sometimes it can be a lot lower than that. We have email campaigns that we've written up that have only cost $1,000 and they've yielded $100,000 or more, and that's a really good return for us. That's an outstanding return. But the reality is they already had the structure and the framework in place to be able to generate those sales. We were just really seen as an admin path to being able to create those email copies. So if you can give customers a framework, often they are more likely to understand why you have a budget and why you have this budget question. So that was my 6-step process on how to get the budget from the customer
every time.
The biggest point to me is to stay silent. That, in my opinion, is the biggest motivator and move that you can use during these conversations to ask the customer, what's your budget, and then stay totally silent. Let me know in the comments below if this was useful, guys, or if this is the type of content that you want to see. If you're new to the channel, hey there, my name is Mike Killen. I'm from sellyourservice.co.uk. Give us a subscribe. I produce new content every single week. At the moment, I'm doing it every single day. I'm dedicated to helping funnel builders maximize their income potential. Head over to sellyourservice.co.uk/blog to read up as much of the stuff that I talk about on camera as I do on there. We've also got a bunch of free webinars and all this kind of like downloads and worksheets and PDFs and whatever. I'll link some of them below. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if this was useful, and I will see you on the next video. Keep building those funnels.